Well, I'm back. Earlier today, I tried to live stream. I tried to do this live stream and something happened. I was about 30 minutes into it and it really put me off. I had to stop. I had to attend to it. So I'm really sorry if somebody was watching. Somebody, there might have been one person watching. I had to go. I had to go. What I've decided to do is to start, but start again. So if you do come back to this, I apologise because you'll be going over some of what I was doing with me. And I've got to repeat it all over again for anyone new joining the stream or who stumbles upon this at some point and feels like they want to watch it. So apologies to anyone. What is this all about? Well, since I started my channel, I really wanted to do a live stream and I really wanted to do something a bit different. I wanted to do some live research about individuals who may have led interesting lives. I'm not interested in kings, queens, generals, politicians, other monarchs, other royalty. Just not interested in doing all those because it's all been done to death. There might be the odd individual who was well known in their time. I researched an actress and a musician who were well known in their time, but not now. And not much research has been done about them. And that's the sort of thing I like. Intriguing people. So I went through and I chose this subject. And they're not easy to find. They're not easy to find at all. Trying to find someone suitable for a stream like this. But I did find him in the newspapers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out stuff because when I'm watching YouTube, I watch it often on my mobile and people are looking at websites and they're looking at, I don't know, Reddit or something. And I think, I can't see it. I can't see it on my phone. Why are you not reading it out? I have no idea what you're responding to. So I'm going to do my best to try and read these out. And someone will have to come and kick me if I don't. So who is this chap? The headline reads, Personation, Fraud and Bigamy. Hugh Titus Crawford, aged 36, pleaded guilty on Wednesday at the Old Bailey, London, to marrying Florence Grosset and Alice Mary Adams, his wife being alive. The prosecution counsel said the prisoner had not only ruined 2 women, but apparently spent the greater portion of his life in committing fraud. By representing that he was a Scotland Yard detective, he obtained £250 from Mrs. Grosset. Well, we shall see. Other sources say it's 210. These were the ones I looked at earlier. Saying that he would prevent her son, who was in prison for a short term, from being arrested on another charge when he came out. He then married Miss Grosset, i.e. Florence. The prisoner was sentenced to 5 years penal servitude. So the first thing about this I notice is that it was at the Old Bailey. So not a small trial, a big criminal trial. Obviously the second thing is he impersonated a Scotland Yard detective, or personation as they said then. Which of course it was illegal, but even if he was an actual detective, he was corrupt because he try to obtain money from Mrs. Grosset to free her son, which is, I know, is by the by, because he wasn't. But, you know, that's interesting as well. What I did earlier was I had already created a tree on Ancestry. And what I think I'll do is I'm going to go back again, have a look at the Old Bailey records, show anyone that's turned up to watch, go through all that again. Let's have a search. Let's go, Yeah, we'll get to the marriage records. This is what I don't do. I will not be distracted. Focus on what I wanted to do, what I set out to do. I should say that the object of today, possibly if we can't do it all today, another stream is to actually answer some questions arising from this newspaper article. I've got them in my notes here. So what else can we find out about this particular case to do with Hugh? Who was Mrs. Grosset? Who was her son? What was his crime? And of course, who was Hugh Titus Crawford? And what happened to him? Now that's going to be a bit tricky. And can we find out any more about his life of crime? So these were the ones I looked at earlier, the ones that have highlighted pink. So we'll go for them again for any new people and for their benefit. So this is going to take us off to the Old Bailey website. The proceedings of the Old Bailey. Old Bailey Online is the website. So we've got a summary abstract of Hugh Titus Crawford. Sexual offences, bigamy, deception, fraud, 14th of September, 1891. So we've got Hugh Titus Crawford, 36, to feloniously, I can't say the word, marrying Florence Grosset during the lifetime of his wife. Also to marrying Alice Mary Ann Adams during the lifetime of his wife. There was another indictment against the prisoner for unlawfully obtaining money from Jane Elizabeth Grosset. That's great. We now have the first names of Mrs. Grosset. So that was obtaining money by false pretences. This confirms what was in the newspaper. Or rather, the newspaper, of course, got its information from the Old Bailey reports. So it was with intent to defraud, pleaded guilty, 5 years penal servitude. Excellent. So what do I want to do now? Well, I think I might go back. Let's get rid of this for a moment. And have a look at these. As I looked at them for the viewers earlier, so I'm going to go over them again. I believe he's right at the top. Let's have a looky. Yeah, let's go all over this again. So this is UK Registers of Habitual Criminals and Police Gazettes. Alerting the police, really, to individuals who were troublemakers. So this is quite good. This is Hugh Titus Crawford, alias James Arthur Dillon. I thought to myself, when I first saw the article, I doubt if that is his real name. Don't know which one is the real name, mind you. Will we ever know? Date of birth, 1855. Married. Labourer by occupation. Complexion fresh. Hair brown. Eyes brown. Height 5'8" 1/4 inches. Build, prop, proportionate. Shape of face, oval. Distinctive marks and peculiarities. Scar each shin, right of chin, back head and large fleshy growth centre back. The place of birth given as Scotland. I wonder if that's true. Place where offence was committed, London. Date of conviction, 14th of September 1891. Prison, Borstal. Date of liberation, 4th of July 1895. Not quite the full term. Destination on discharge, St Giles Christian Mission, London. Sentence 5 years. No remarks. So just a tip when using this resource, go all the way to the start. I could just put in 1 in the box or 2 or whatever. I'm going to do it this way because there's a guide to the information in this register. Come here, you see it gives explanations, but a key to the abbreviation. So we've got prop, proportionate build, and the SGCM, St Giles Christian Mission, plus others if we were looking for someone else. So that's grand. We've got a alias for him, place of birth, and that birthday for Scotland, well, that's right on the cusp of civil registration. So there's another one here. I think I should have blown my nose before getting online. It's affecting me. Oh, for God's sake. And this is the UK calendar of prisoners. Let's have a look at the headings. Name, age, trade, degree of instruction, name and address of committing magistrate, warrant and custody. So on this record, we see that he'd committed a previous offence, which we suspected, 18 calendar months, 25th of October, 1886, attempting fraud again, at the Middlesex session, so a smaller court, as James Arthur Dillon. 36, Marylebone, that was the custody and blah, blah, blah. Marion Florence Grosser and Alice Marianne Adams, his wife, oh God, his wife being then alive. 2 indictments. Obtaining by false pretences from Jane Elizabeth Grosser the sum of £210 with intent to defraud. So yes, that source was 210. I think the Old Bailey one was 210. He pleaded guilty. So that's those ones. Got a nice description of him as well from the other one. Been through that, we've been through that. Yep. Again, I'm just going to leave him. I'm not going to jump into the marriages just yet. I mean, there you go. I'm not going to. Don't believe in ancestry hints either. What I want to do is go for Jane Elizabeth Grosser. So I did find her earlier when I was originally on. I'm going to repeat it for you. We want to find out about the sons, which were a bit confusing. So I'm going to go for the 1891 census because this set of offences occurred in 1891. So we find a family snapshot when it actually happened. That would be handy. So yeah, it was the top one. Go here. Oh, just check on things. Is that in there? Right. What have I got? So she's in Dorset Street. And she's running a pub, basically, licensed victualler. She has a son, William A., aged 28. He's a pub manager. Frederick J., aged 26, carpenter. Maud E., daughter, assistant in the bar. It's got Florence, the girl who married Hugh, aged 21, saleswoman, artists, sculpt. So for sculptor. Then there's two servants, William Jackson, Amelia Hill. Oh, and the visitor as well. Yeah, that's it. So one wonders if one of these two were the ones that committed the offence. The Hugh offence was, well, he went to trial in September 1891, and this census is the April of 1891. I wonder if we can find out about which one of these boys committed the offence. I think I'll go back to the newspapers. Earlier when I was on, I tried those criminal registers that we're looking at for Hugh. Couldn't find him. Go back. Couldn't find him at all. Yeah, so I looked in these and the criminal one, which is a separate collection on Ancestry, for grocers, and I couldn't find anything. So I'm going to try and go for newspapers and see if I can get a better newspaper report for Hugh and one for grocers. It's got grocer. I could try that. I don't know if it's theft. Let's go for that. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, well. A clerk. Well, that's what he was. No, I've got to go all the way back to it, haven't I? Was he a clerk? No, he wasn't. He was helping in the pub. But he's definitely William A. The manager. Same thing. No, it isn't. It isn't. Let's have a look. Well, it's Dorset Street. Oh, it must be that there, Dorset Street. Yeah, at Dorset Street. Let's have a look at this. Get rid of the search terms, shouldn't it? Right. This day's police. A clerk charged with theft. William Arthur Grocer, a clerk of Dorset Street, Baker Street, was charged at Marlborough Street Police Court today with having stolen, since October 1890, the sum of £100, the money of his employers, Liberty and Co. That's one of the biggest stores in London. They still exist. Liberty and Co. of Regent Street. Mr. Street, a member of the firm of Liberty and Co. Mr. Street, must be his name, said that since 1885, Grocer had been in their employ and for the last 4 years as a bank clerk. In that capacity, he had received money from the cashiers and convey it to the firm's bankers. Yesterday, the discovery was made that one of his recent payments was £100 short, and that certain books had been falsified to cover the deficiency. When he, Mr. Street, first spoke to him about the matter, he declared that he was quite innocent, although he admitted that things looked very black against him. But subsequently he made a written confession that he was the culprit. Mr. Newton remanded him. Imagine that's the magistrate. Mr. Newton. Yeah. Let's go and look at one of the others. Might repeat it. This was the following day, 11th of April, 1891. Mr. William Arthur Grosset, 27, Clerk of Dorset Street. Blah, blah, blah. In the same report. Different papers, but the same report. So that is what... That's my doorbell. I'm going to ignore it. Hopefully someone else will get it. That's what was referred to in the original report then, that Hugh had offered Jane Elizabeth, a way out for her son because he had committed another offence. But that other offence might have been fantasy, and she didn't know about it. So he was trying to get William off the hook. So he must have known the family for a little while anyway. So let's see if we can find another report about Hugh. That might be a bit more detailed than the original one. Certainly more detailed than the Old Bailey report that we've got. Might be more on that, of course. Get rid of that. Okay, there's more there. Let's have a look at this. So this is before the trial. Okay. Who's this? Picture down there. Oh, it's somebody else. No. Oh, is it? Is that her? Good grief. Oh, there's a lot more here. I think that is a picture of... They put her down as gross soul. Hang on, let's go away. Picture. I didn't know that was going to be there. People's Journal. Startling story. Well, we might be able to find out quite a bit here. Startling story of alleged bigamy and swindling. Many wives and much amazing roguery. That strikingly novel charge of fraud in which Hugh Titus Crawford, aged 36, is alleged to have obtained £210 from a widow by falsely representing himself as a Scotland Yard officer who, for the love of his daughter, will get her imprisoned son out of jail by a liberal process of bribery, came up again at Marylebone before Mr. Newton. The case was remarkable for the ingenious nature of the pretences charged against the prisoner, and still more so for the desperate lengths to which he alleged to have gone in maturing his plans, he having married the daughter for whose sake he professed to interest himself in the imprisoned son. Mr. Arthur Newton, in stating the case, had to paint the man as a veritable Alexander among criminals, a man practically with no fresh wells of crime left for him to conquer. And that's him. Wow. Bigamy figured prominently in his record, as unfolded by Mr. Newton. And in fact, love, which he seems to have been able to inspire with the greatest ease in the female breast, appeared to have been the lever with which he had moved, everything standing between himself and the accomplishment of his schemes. This could be a novel. The prosecution was instituted by a widow, Mrs. Grosall. She was the widow of a man who had been exceedingly well off, and since her husband's death, she had been in possession of the Wheatsheaf public house, Dorset Street. She had 4 children, a son William, 2 daughters, Florence and Maud, and another son in a situation at Brighton. The eldest son, William, to whom she was devotedly attached, had up to the beginning of this year borne an irreproachable character, but in April he gave way to temptation. So we could have actually just gone and looked at the newspaper reports and found this information about it being William originally, right from the start, and that he'd stolen the money from Liberty, his employers, and was sentenced to 4 months' imprisonment. About a fortnight after this, the boy's mother, being in a state of absolute prostration through grief and hardly able to speak or walk, the prisoner, who had previously been a customer at the private bar, came and condoled with her about her son's misfortune. So he was already within the family circle. He regretted he had not known of it before the lad was convicted, but he had just come over from America, he said, where he'd been tracing a notorious scamp. He went on to say, Detective Inspector Arthur Hare, and could have prevented the boy being convicted at all, for he knew something against Messrs. Liberty which would have prevented them moving in the matter. That was nonsense, of course, but the woman believed what he said. Then the prisoner, proceeding with his bogus confidences, said the worst was yet to come, for he had in his pocket another warrant against her boy, for conspiracy this time, and he would be safe to get 5 years penal servitude. Yeah, of course, conspiracy would have been a more serious offence. But he, prisoner, was a friend of the Home Secretary's, and he could even now get the boy liberated. Boy, could he spin a towel, could Hugh. He proceeded to pretend to do so, and on the plea that he was running out of cash for the incidental expenses, he got Mrs. Grosall to advance him various sums of £25 each, or thereabouts, amounting in all to 210. He explained that he was taking all this interest in young Grosall because of Miss Florence Grosall, to whom he was deeply attached, and towards whom he had matrimonial intentions. He was subsequently married to her at Taplow. Okay, we'll look that up. And after that, he treated the poor girl unkindly and abused the mother, saying that the detective had found out what he had been doing and were thick on him. Still, he said, he should shortly get some large sums from his solicitor under a will. This is a common trick that fraudsters had with their victims. I'm coming into money. I just need some money to see me through. Can you help me out? And so on. Meanwhile, he begged Mrs. Grossall to destroy every scrap of paper connected with him, and she did so. It then seemed to have occurred to the prisoner that when young Grossall came out of prison, he would tell them that nothing had been done in the way alleged for his release. Yes, that was a flaw in Crawford's plan. Crawford therefore went with Grossall's brother and met William Grossall at the prison gates, told him there was another warrant out for him on which he would be bound to get 10 years, it's gone up from 5 to 10 years, and begged him to clear off. William Grossall, knowing he had nothing more to fear, was sufficiently strong-minded to stand his ground and communicated with his solicitor. I'll just stop for a drink in a minute. Crawford's arrest soon followed, and now his history had been unearthed. His real name was James Arthur Dillon, and he sometimes passed as Captain John Dillon. On the 5th of August 1888, he went through the form of marriage again at Hackney with a young woman named Alice Adams, whom he deserted on the 14th of January last year. Whilst with her, Crawford forged a character in the name of Mr. Dundas, a most elaborate piece of work with seal and everything complete. Let's get myself a drink. There's a lot of reading. Let's get this. Some amazing stuff. Quite a lot of detail from the newspapers here. Okay. That's it. Let's carry on. With this, he obtained a respectable situation and took the woman who was supposed to be his wife with him. There he commenced robbing again, breaking open a safe, being found with the stolen silver on him. Unfortunately, the people who had been robbed would not take the trouble to prosecute him, and thus it was he was left preying upon society, until he went through the form of marriage with Florence Grossall. The magistrate, I think this is undoubtedly a case which should be handed over to the public prosecutor. So I think from here it then went to the Old Bailey. Mrs. Grossall was then called to bear out this opening statement. She said Crawford told her that his salary as a detective officer was £1,000 a year, but he made as much again. He was always telling her of his achievements in capturing wrongdoers, explaining the absence of his cases from the papers by saying that he belonged to the flying squadron, 12 officers whose operations were secret. He represented the Home Secretary. To be so intimate a friend of his that he would probably attend the wedding and give Florence away. He promised to settle £6,000 a year on her and to allow her £100 a year pin money. With regard to his operations at Pentonville, he said he had written a cheque for £2,000 for the doctor, who in return was to pass young Grossall out as an invalid. But the warders, he said, were perfect bloodhounds and wanted such a lot that he ran dry of cash. Once he professed to take some of young Grossall's clothes to Pentonville for the escape and kept Mrs. Grossall sitting up through the night expecting their return. He came back alone, however, and returned the clothes. One Dundas, he said, who was helping him in the plan, had been arrested and put in chains. Dundas had choked himself with these chains, and as Dundas's will was in his Crawford's favour, he would now come into £25,000 a year. and an estate at Ecclefechan, somewhere in Scotland, I think. I have to look that one up. Do that now, I think. Yeah, village in Scotland. Sorry if I butchered pronunciation. Ecclefechan. Ecclefechan. That's quite specific. Near Gretna, not far from the English border. Okay. Ecclefechan. Florence Grosser was called, but her evidence was reserved for the next hearing. She is a pleasant, gentle-looking girl whose black attire threw up into stronger relief the peculiar pallor of her face. Her blue eyes were dimmed with tears, and it was with great effort that she braced herself to go into the witness box. No wonder she looked so ill, for Mr. Newton announced that the prisoner would be indicted also for causing the poor girl grievous bodily harm. So he was an abuser. The case was then remanded for a week, the last of his many victimised wives. The brilliant achievements in bigamy and general swindling inputted to high Hugh Titus Crawford have caused quite a sensation, particularly in the neighbourhood of Dorset Street, where his alleged victims, Mrs. Grosel and her daughter, reside. The inhabitants talk of hardly anything else, and there will be a crush at Marylebone Police Court to see the prisoner when he is brought up next Wednesday. So I think this is her. I think this is Florence. Miss Florence Grosel, with whom he went through a ceremony of marriage, will then give evidence. She was seen at Marylebone, as stated yesterday, to be a pleasant, gentle-looking girl whose black attire threw up into stronger relief the peculiar pallor of her face. So they're just repeating that. So that's quite interesting. I want to have a look at this marriage and that of Alice. I'm quite interested to see what they say. What lies did he tell? I'll go back to my tree. Marriage records. Wish I did. Wish I did know the death. So we know that that's the civil reg. I'm going to go for that. It said it was Taplow, didn't it? Hang on a minute. That's Marylebone. I don't think it's any of these. Trying to find if it's online somewhere. Go back to this again. Just stopping to look at my phone for a moment. Okie dokes. I'm wondering if this is. Don't tell you much about it there. A registry office marriage. Or a church that's housed many rooms. That's not on here for a reason. Not having much luck with that. Could try find my past. Yes, we've got all these. I don't know if I've looked at that one. This is the bigamy one. Yeah, so September 1891. No, this is not good enough. Was that one? It's the one I've just looked at. I'm going to come back and do it this way. Let's try her. She'll put in 1891. That's a baptism. That's the marriage. Definitely is his name there. I'm just presuming it's possibly not online. I could try find my past, but I'm not. I'm going to try the other marriage. So we know she was Alice Mary and will I have any luck with this? What did it say about him and the previous marriages? Many wives. So that was married, took place in 1888, Alice Adams. So was he using the name Dylan or Crawford? Let's try another way. Certainly was using Crawford, not Hare, when he married Florence. So let's go Crawford, Adams, 1888. Oh, God. 1888. 1888. No, Dylan? Dylan. Deal. What's Adams? No, well, it's surname. Aaron. No. Okay. Let's try baptisms. Marriages. What? Hugh Thomas Douglas. What was the date again? 5th of August 1888. 5th of August 1888. Hackney. Hackney. Another name? I think it's definitely right. Alice Mary Ann Adams. Alice Adams there, but she was definitely Alice Mary Ann on the others. Hugh Thomas Douglas, 37 there, but he was 36. Oh, in 1891. What's this? What's this? Rotate. Column. Oh, it's Adam instead of Adams. Nothing to do with the bigamy. Thought it might have been another marriage that he shouldn't have had. And it says George Mackenzie Douglas. Yeah, right. Ardley Road. Okay. Mate, I bet you're not anywhere near there. Ardley Road. George Mackenzie Douglas, honestly. I don't know what to put now on my tree. Bit weird. It's a bit strange. Well, I think I'm going to leave it here for now on this stream and come back at some point because that's completely thrown me and I've got to go away and think about it. Another name. So we've got Hugh Titus Crawford, James Arthur Dillon. Did you say John? John Dillon and Hugh Thomas Douglas. And a different age. And what's this guy up to? I feel that this is the same, what they're mentioning here. I'm quite happy that that is the same person and the same marriage that they're talking about. So I need thinking time and go back and do this. And come back another day. In which case what I'll do is I will actually schedule this and put a post up so that anyone finds this stream and they want to know what happens next, then they can come and watch. If you actually want to have a go yourself and see what you can come up with, by all means do, and drop a comment or post on the community board. Let me know. Let me know how you get on and what you find out. I always like to set people challenges. I think I need a drink. So what I'm going to do is say goodbye for now because I think, how long have I been on? A while. At 50 minutes. 50 minutes. So yes, I think it's time to call it a day. I really look forward to going further with this guy because he does spin a towel. I think he's going to be really hard to find. I think that he has covered his tracks really well, trying to get away with things. So yeah, who knows if it's possible to carry on. Who knows? But we can see. We can see next time. Thanks for watching. I finally got this live stream done. I hope it's come out all right. I'd really hate to do it again. I was thinking to myself, I just can't be bothered anymore. And that's how I feel about the channel, to be honest. I go out, I film stuff, I'd be on my feet for 6 hours, 7 hours, going around filming in London. I come back, I pull it all together, and spend hours editing. And what does it get? 200 views, 300 views. I might as well just be sitting here talking. Probably get more views for that. And then, you know what? The one that's really annoyed me, I'll show you. Really annoyed. Let me just go to my YouTube channel. I can't tell you how frustrating this is. This one. Turn that off for a moment. Can you see it? This video, I'd spent months doing research, just as I am now with you. Months doing this research. Then I went and I put it all together. I did all the editing, all the visuals, traced public domain footage I could use, public domain music, weeks and weeks and weeks. And what has it had? 312 views. And I think, why do I bother? Why have I bothered? I'm sure many content creators feel the same. Some people, it's very easy. It depends what niche you're in. You do really well. Your channel flies. It just flies. Whereas a year later, I'm still thinking, I can't be bothered anymore. I probably will, because I don't give up. That's me. I don't give up. I don't give up. Anyway, bye. Bye. Thanks for watching. All 2 of you. Bye.